All right, I think we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to EIPIP Meeting number 23. Um, we have a few agenda topics today. The first two were ones that Light Client put in. Um, so instead of us going to those first until Light Client shows up, we'll skip them and then we'll have them at the end, regardless of if he's here for anyone to comment on. So we'll start with EIP repo cleanup item number 3. What's that one about?
In the previous meeting, we decided that we should continue the task of EIP repo cleanup that we were doing earlier. Now that the new bot has already done, already taken care of a major part, like if an EIP is old, either redundant is mentioned there or it is closed after a certain period of time. But we realized that eipips.ethereum.org, they have this list of EIPs and they are still in the same status, even though the issue is closed on issue and PR are closed on GitHub. The status are not getting changed for EIPs. And I was doing a quick uh, analysis of what are the EIPs and statuses. So I'm going to share a sheet in the chat. So it basically lists all the EIPs that those are present in eipips.ethereum.org, and it lists a total of 312 EIPs. So in the sheet, if you can go to tab number 2, pivot table 2, you may be able to find the uh, list of EIPs divided on categories. And if we give it a look, we see that there are 229 draft status EIPs there out of 312. So it's a major chunk, and we cat herders are trying to reach out to authors of these EIPs and see if they are still interested in either pursuing the EIP, if it is like valid, and if it is not valid anymore, we would request them to change it to the status of withdrawn. So in the tab EIP status change reach December 2020, I have listed some of the, I have populated with some of the EIPs where we already have reached out to the authors and have requested them to change the status depending upon the conversation that we had. Unfortunately, it's not a very big success so far. Like, even if we have asked them to change it, it is still in the same status for a while. So I was wondering what could be the right next step to move forward, and we should be able to move all the EIPs in the right status.
My personal strategy has been to wait for the 6-month timer to tick through on all of them and then just mass close them all, or mass with stagnant them all, I should say. But that's still like, what, 4 months away, I think, 5.
Yeah, we can be proactive if we want, or just leave them stagnant. It's kind of whatever. If someone wants to take that initiative upon themselves, they can for sure, um, and contact authors. But whether or not it's like really necessary, I'm not sure.
I would say if we have author's agreement to mark it as abandoned, I'm personally okay with just doing the actual PR to do that, as long as we have credible belief that the author actually agrees. Like normally, the normal process would be the author sets to abandon, but like I'm okay if the author says, like if you contact the author on Discord, they're like, yeah, mark it as abandoned. Like I'm personally okay with using that as agreement. I don't know about others.
Yeah, actually, I was coming to that point. Like, we are reaching out to authors. I mean, like I have been reaching them to for some or the other task, and during the discussion, for some of the EIPs comes out that it is not valid anymore. I was wondering if it is okay for me or Brent or anybody who is in touch with that author to just create a pull request. By that, we are also giving the opportunity an author. I mean, first of all, we are creating the pull request because we have data, we have reached out to the author and we have their permission. But in case of verification of that, if we create a pull request, we give like say 14 days time for author to respond back. If he does not want it to be withdrawn or he has changed his mind or something like that, then he can mention that as a comment, and after that we would like to mark that as withdrawn. The only concern that I found there was if any of the cat herders are taking that step, they would be added as a contributor. I'm not sure if it is like ethically very much right, but if an EIP editor is willing to take that, I think that should be okay.
Yeah, or we could just say that you don't have to be a contributor
Right.
to um, to do a PR for someone else. Which really, do you have to be added as a contributor if you do a PR for someone else's EIP, or is that just more like common? Like that's what commonly happens?
You do not have to be a contributor to do anything or
But
to
I,
do open any PRs.
yeah,
Okay.
but I
Yeah.
think,
There's no technical restrictions, I should say. I don't know if there's social ones.
right. So I was thinking, I mean, I'm not sure, maybe you can help me understand this part. Like if I, if I go ahead and create a PR for any EIP, which I have information that author has mentioned that he's not willing to pursue it anymore. Uh, my understanding is like I would be added as like contributor to that once that PR is accepted, but that PR is accepted at the state of withdrawn. So in my mind, it should be fine. Just wanted to raise it as like ethical concern.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. Go ahead, James.
like if an author, yeah, if you do a PR, then an editor still is going to be the one that has to merge it. So there's, which makes that totally fine. If an EIP, I just want to go through like the different cases where I think this would make sense. Like if an EIP author, if you talk with them, they say, yeah, I'd like to withdraw this EIP or make it withdrawn, then you making the PR for them, and then just mentioning that the author said that it could be like that, the author could always refute that happened. So it's not really that big of an issue if someone was doing it wrongly, because the author could just come back and say, wait, no, never mind, that
Right.
wasn't the case. And or if the author says like to whatever really status that makes sense. But if an author replies and says, I'm just not really working on this anymore, then I don't really think that counts as withdrawn. That to me sounds more like stagnant. It should just default to going to stagnant when the time goes out.
Right.
Yeah, they could give
Like,
their opinion though and just say I want to withdraw it, and that's all we're giving them the opportunity for.
yeah. And so if they say that, but like even so, if I talk to someone and then I hear from them, that I don't think that default means that then we can withdraw.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like they have to say that they allow us to like explicitly say that they're okay with us moving their EIP to withdrawn. It shouldn't be like assumed or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then just to make sure I'm clear on this, Pooja, what you're saying as far as being a contributor, you would do a PR that would attach your name to the EIP, but not like actually write it down as a contributor to the EIP, right? Like as an author or
Yes.
anything?
Yes.
Okay.
I think what she's probably referring to is in GitHub, they have a little contributor tag that shows up on people who have successfully gotten a commit somewhere in the commit history.
Oh, okay.
That's just a GitHub feature.
That's fine.
Shows
Yeah.
up your name.
Okay. Yeah, I'm personally I'm good with all that.
So if there is a general agreement on this, I may have a list of EIPs for which we have already requested the author to change it. They have agreed somehow, but maybe in absence of bandwidth or higher priority job or something like that, the EIPs, the PRs has not been created yet. So I can go ahead and do that, adding a note to the author. So if you have like a disagreement with this, please respond back within 14 days or something. Is that fair?
I think it's reasonable. I think also, so for a lot of these authors, having worked with some of them before, I suspect if you just create the PR and send them a link and say, hey, do you mind if we can approve on this? They will be more likely to do that than go and create the PR themselves, because clicking approve is marginally easier than actually going through the effort of creating the PR itself. And so if you just create the PR for them and then send them a link on Discord or Gitter or wherever you're contacting them and say, hey, do you mind just clicking approve on this? I suspect most of them will be willing to do that since it takes like 10 seconds.
Sure, sounds good to me. So I will try to go
And
ahead and.
that would let us kind of speed things up a little bit so we don't have to wait 2 weeks for them to decline. Because like I said, they'll probably just do it right away and then we can just merge it immediately as soon as I see their.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. Do we go on to the next one, or do we have any other comments?
Like client said, he's not going to be able to make the meeting, so we can go back to 1 and 2 if you want, or we can still get to the end.
Okay, let's do 1 and 2 just a second. Had to sneeze. Glad I put it on mute. Let's do item number 1, handling retroactive changes. If you click on that, it goes to a issue in the ETH 1.0 specs, where he said there was no dissent in moving EIP 2681 forward during all core devs number 101. The problem is, what does that mean? With the separation of EIPs and network upgrades, final doesn't mean mainnet. Typically, this isn't a major issue because we can use the upgrade tracker, and once it's scheduled in an upgrade, it is recorded during that transition, but EIP 2681 sets a limit on account nonces retroactively from Genesis. Huh. My guess is that a modification should be made to the yellow paper.
So
Yeah. Go ahead.
My feeling on this is that there's a whole set of these EIPs that like client and AXIC would like to push through, and I fully support. I don't think that we need a super formal process for this set, at least, and I tend to be hesitant to generate super formalized processes until they're needed. In this case, I'd say we just mark the PRs or mark the EIP as final, and we're done. Like updating the yellow paper, we should probably do as well, and anyone can submit a PR to the yellow paper to do that, and I don't think that would run into any trouble. But I don't know if we need a formal process here. Like I say, just merge to final like any other EIP, update the yellow paper like any other EIP core EIP, and that's it. Like we're done basically.
It might be as easy as just having a list of the active EIPs on mainnet in like a table on ETH1 specs repo. So you merge it, you add it to that list. Anyone who's wanting to make a client would just look through all those EIPs. Oh yeah, that's one.
Yes, the caveat there is that you cannot actually write a client from EIPs alone because we do not have the original set of spec on anywhere other than the yellow paper.
Yeah, so you would use the yellow.
Build a client,
you look at the yellow paper.
Yellow paper
plus the list.
That's right, but the yellow paper should already have the whole list integrated into it in theory. It's like if you have the yellow paper, you don't need the EIPs, and if you don't have the yellow paper, the EIPs don't do any good, which is an unfortunate situation. At least it's supposed to. In theory, the yellow paper is supposed to be updated every time there's a core protocol change. I don't honestly know how good we as a community have been at that. I don't know if anyone else does.
Well, pretty much all the precompiles that have been added since I don't think are in the yellow paper. You'd have to go to EIPs for those.
No, some of them have been added.
Really?
Yeah, there's been someone keeping up with it. Just a community member's been adding them, and they've been getting merged every once in a while. But they're not. I can't say it's completely up to date, but it does have a good number of the precompiles.
Okay.
So I guess my take is it shouldn't be required to update the yellow paper for it to go to final, if that's anything being suggested, which I'm not sure if it is. But it should be encouraged if someone's willing to do that, I guess. And then final doesn't mean mainnet. But have we changed that rule yet, or have we just said that?
I believe it's actually EIP represents the final standard. Final EIP exists in state of finality and should only be updated to correct errata. That's what final means. So it has nothing to do with mainnet anything anymore.
Okay, then yeah. Let's just do it to
So we
final.
have stated that in the sense that we removed all the terminology that makes.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, so now what people are worried about are getting, okay, I see the concern now more so. Yeah, for now, I like what Micah's idea that he originally said. I think we should go with that.
That does lead into another discussion possibly better suited elsewhere, but it would be nice if we had some team or a group or something that makes sure there is one canonical source of the ETH1 spec. I personally am one of the people in the medium-sized group who hates the yellow paper, but at least it is a single consolidated place that has the current Ethereum definition. It'd be nice if there was confidence that that was actually true. Like this, here is the current state of Ethereum defined somewhere. Again, whether that's yellow paper or purple paper or green paper, or fuchsia paper, or some specs repo like EIP1 specs, similar to how EIP2 does it maybe within a wiki or something. Like any of these would be fine with me, but it would be nice if there was a single source of truth that defines what it means to be a client. That being said, I am way overworked, and I think all of us are, so I do not volunteer.
Just to add here, like in the last meeting, even Light Plant also mentioned this as a suggestion. Like we have spec of H2 in H2.o spec repo, the current spec of our clients. Could we have something listed here in H1.o spec for Ethereum 1.o chain?
This sounds like a really interesting thing to do, starting with this next Berlin hard fork and working backwards. So that would fall into the ETH 1.0 specs repo, which generally falls under James's stuff. But James, what's your load like right now?
Oh no, that makes sense.
Okay. So is that
I don't-
something
I-
we
Is
can...
that the-
Go ahead.
Doing the putting all the hard forks up and retroactively, like putting in Berlin and then putting in all the other hard forks, and these are the EIPs and the block numbers, which would, when they came in, like that stuff I was already planning on. What I don't really understand yet is what's the best version of how to keep, if we did keep something like Micah's saying on ETH1.0 specs, what's the best way to do that that would allow it to be most likely kept up to date and easiest to be used?
I do not have an answer to that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, I think.
This is the canonical problem. I mean, a sufficiently specific specification is called code. And so by definition, just the Geth repo is arguably the ETH 1.0 specs. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So
or maybe never mind. I don't know. Take your pick.
So something, and so that's like what I just don't know yet is like, would a list of EIPs that are supposed to be on mainnet be sort of enough, or would a link to, or would the yellow paper, like the yellow paper should stay probably where the yellow paper is because people expect it to be there. There's some like other things that probably fit in ETH1 specs is like the networking protocol stuff, like the ETH64, ETH65, ETH67. Those things could probably fit too.
I think as a user who has unhappily had to read the yellow paper many times over, the thing that I want, that I always end up going to the yellow paper for, and then when I get there, I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is actually up to date, and it makes me nervous, is I want a reference. Like for example, gas costs. How much do things cost in gas today? Like, I don't actually know if the yellow paper reflects reality right now. It might be close. Maybe it's mostly right. I don't know. And there's no place I can go to get an authoritative answer to that other than digging through like the Geth or Nethermind repo and trying to find their gas accounting methods and maybe hoping they have like a constants list somewhere in the repository. Like those are the types of things that I really would like to see. Similarly, data structures for the structure of a block. it's like I can go to the yellow paper and try to parse that out of the mathematical notation, or I can, try to go on Stack Exchange and try to find someone who has defined what a block is, but that's probably out of date by now. And so now I need to find another one. And so I end up like trying to put together all these different pieces of sources of truth where, okay, here's the yellow paper, but it's out of date. The Stack Overflow has slightly more update or easier to read information, but it's out of date. And then the Nethermind repo, defines blocks, but they're kind of spread out over 17 different files. And so all I wanted to do was figure out what is the shape of a block, like an RLP encoded block. Show me that. And there's currently nowhere to go this authoritative. It would be nice if there was an authoritative place that I felt like I could trust that is A, up to date, and B, human readable. Yellow paper kind of half meets the up to date and does not meet human readable, in my opinion. And then all the other sources don't meet the up to date or don't meet human readable. Again, I do not have time for this. I recognize this is potentially a very large task, and so I do not want to put it on anybody. One potential place is the ETH Wiki. It is the third place that I go to look. I don't know who's maintaining that, but it has some good info, but it's not always accurate. Like, it's not updated.
Maintainership is up in the air right now.
Many times.
Yeah, maintainership's up in the air right now.
Okay.
I could certainly coordinate and help make sure everything stays consistent, but I would need someone to help do a lot of the heavy lifting of actually getting all the work and the information written in.
I see this as a good bounty project, so we pay someone to do it.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So we pay someone to do it,
awesome.
and James is the project manager of it, kind of.
Yep, because I have enough knowledge of all the little pieces that I could keep them together as far as what's supposed to get done and how it's supposed to fit together. And we could bounty off the rest or find someone who wants to spend 3 months.
Let's add that to the agenda for the new year, or maybe even for next meeting to flesh it out just a tiny bit more, but maybe for the new year to figure out funding and maybe have like an EIP editor fund that the cat herders control.
Yeah, because that sounds like a good resource for developers.
Yeah.
So that's like pretty good.
I know I've personally needed this class of information, dozens of times, building dApps or trying to write EIPs and whatnot, and it's surprisingly hard to come by reliable info. So I would love it.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. In that case, if are we done with this topic? That got a little bit off on a tangent, but that's good because we're gonna bring it back in the next few meetings about this. But the decision made was basically that you move things to final, and that there's not a requirement for the yellow paper to be updated, but there's plans to both James to do an ETH 1.0 specs repo list of EIPs per fork eventually, and there's also a potential plan to have someone update the yellow paper or to make another source of truth in bulk in the new year. Did that sound right, everybody?
Yep.
Okay. Next agenda item, implementation section in the EIP repo.
So this, we can maybe speed through this one if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So AXIC took a politically correct approach to this problem and started with an issue and filed it and got some responses. And then I forgot about it. And then I went and took a more, let's say, bold approach to this exact same problem. And I just submitted a PR to make this change. No one said no to it after 2 weeks. And like client said, okay. And so I merged it.
Okay. Cool.
I later realized that just now that I had forgotten this issue was created. And I don't know if I probably should have let him do it the politically correct way rather than the bold way. But yeah, so it's already done basically.
Oh, okay.
We could revert it if there's discussion and desire to, but it's.
I'm fine that it went through personally.
Yeah.
Just let him know.
It should go through, and I remember we talked about it a while ago as well, and it's still the same. It shouldn't be there. And in general, I'm in favor of removing a lot of the stuff that was kind of put in to assuage people into trying to do something that doesn't make sense anymore.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, I'll update that issue and close it.
Okay, sounds good. Oh man, item number 4 is missing. Everything's broken. The world's over. Never mind. We're gonna go to number 5. Um, single source of truth for EIP. What was this one about?
I can't handle this chaos.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm just playing.
Okay. So a few meetings back, we discussed that there are too many sources for EIPs. Like we have EIP README, GitHub, and then eips.ethereum.org, and then ethereum.org/EIP. So Brent volunteered to get this information at one place. I think he left some messages on Discord. He was like proposing to have a Google Doc to list all of the following sources of EIP truth, where we find like duplicates are available. I'm not sure he is in the meeting today to explain that further, but yeah, if anyone
I'm
has
here.
any thoughts. Oh, thanks for joining, Brent.
Sorry, I'm late.
No worries. Please take it over.
So are we talking about the single source of truth for EIPs? Is that the correct
Yes,
topic?
that's it.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I posted on the Peeps and EAPs the proposal to create a Google Doc to coordinate and list all of the single sources of, or all the sources of truth that have lots of duplicates, and then some proposed solutions and list of issues, and build consensus, make sure there's consensus around the fixes. And then once we have that set out, then we can push forward to making that happen. But anyway, if everyone's on board with that, or then I'll go ahead and push forward with that and get involved listing all the issues and proposing solutions and stuff like that. So if anyone has any other additional sources of truth or any other ideas, yeah, so that's the plan anyway.
That sounds good to me.
Okay, yeah, I'll be creating that document and start listing the issues and proposing solutions, and well, I'll see if we can pull everyone that's involved on board. One question I did have is the guy, is it Jason? The guy that works with the foundation that's responsible for that site. What's his name is? I'm pulling up my notes here. So I'm kind of should have been ready for all this.
Is it Sam?
Sam Richards.
Sam Richards, yeah.
Can someone contact me his Skype ID or something like that? Because I'd like to make sure he's on board with that and pull him in, since I think he's one of the key figures and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. I have his Telegram. Let me give you his Telegram.
Sweet.
And I
Yep,
think Sam also joined our Cat Herders Discord, so possibly you can get his contact.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty active on Discord too.
Yeah,
so
just do Discord actually. I won't even send the Telegram because he's more active on Discord, I think.
Yeah, Discord should work.
Perfect. All right, anything else on that?
Nope, that's all. Thanks so much.
All right, EIP status blog and EIP editor roles and responsibilities blog. Sorry, I wasn't here last time, so I'm out of the loop on this item.
So this is like coming from a few meetings back when we were discussing about the EIP's onboarding. I guess Edson was supposed to submit a blog on what are the roles and responsibilities that were agreed upon here, and the other blog was the EIP status blog. So I haven't heard about the first part, the EIP editor roles and responsibility, but Edson submitted the second blog that is for EIP status. The question that we were trying to get answered to last time was, is Cat Herder Medium the best place to publish that blog, or should it go to somewhere else? And he was supposed to reach out to James because James was not there yesterday. I mean, in the earlier meeting, but today I'm not sure. Edson is not here. So yeah, that was the question, that should we publish it on Cat Herders Medium blog or somewhere else?
My perspective is we should do Cat Herders blog because we've been doing all the EIPIP stuff, so we're kind of associated with it in that way, and I don't know of a better blog for that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And it may make sense to someday take that and like distill it into some place on like the EIP repo or something too.
All right. I just have shared the blog in chat. I mean, the link that is submitted to the Cat Herders Medium. It is not published yet. It was just a thought suggested by Light Client that because this is of like, might need higher visibility or something. So we should first check out with James because he's the network coordinator right now. So yeah, if we are fine, then we can go ahead and publish it in Cat Herders blog. And if people have any thoughts and suggestions on any correction is needed, feel free to leave a comment there.
And we can get more visibility on it, like through a tweet or something like that too.
Right.
Or like, so make sure to bring stuff like that up and we can see if there are other ways to get better visibility.
Sure.
Okay, great. Number 7 is review action items from the previous meeting. Did we have anything else on the blog stuff? I guess we should wait for Edson to make a final decision.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. Yep.
Okay. So the decision items, so wait, are we going over action items? Yeah, action items. The only one is Edson will contact James to decide where to publish the EIP status blog. So that's just one we're waiting on. So that'll be rolled over to the next meeting. Okay, was there any other stuff for the EIPIP meetings? Also, what's 2 weeks from now? Is that a holiday? No, it's not technically a holiday. Is there anyone who won't be here for that?
You get holidays?
30th. It's 30th December, so
It's like end of December, so everyone's off randomly for stuff. But I guess people are traveling less depending on where in the world you are. So,
I mean, I'm fine to make it next meeting if it happens on December 30th. So if people are there, we can certainly plan it.
yeah, I can make it.
I don't have a personal life, so I can be there.
Echoes sentiments.
Okay, well, yeah, then that means there's, I think, 3 or 4 is a quorum for these kind of meetings. So, we'll go ahead and have that in 2 weeks on December 30th at 1500 UTC. Yeah, 1500 UTC. Anything else from anybody before we close the meeting?
Did someone have the Sam Richards contact? I'm not seeing that yet. Did I miss that or?
It's on Discord in the Cat Herders Discord.
I will
so
message
he's
you, Brent.
he's
Yeah.
one of the members of the Cat Herders. Okay, I got that. I can do that. Thanks.
I'll message you.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, if there's nothing else. What was that, Micah?
Yeah, congratulations to us. We're down to 28 open pull requests in the EIP's repo, down from like 500. So
Wow.
Wow.
we're down to 2 pages.
Great.
Very manageable.
That is awesome.
Great job, especially to you, Micah. You kind of did the bulk of that, I feel like, if not Light Client too.
No. All credit goes to the bot.
Oh, the bot did it. All right. Well, good job, bot.
Yeah, the robot did all the hard work here.
Okay, with bot, I just got one question in my mind. I know, I mean, it's not a new question for people. Like bot has already closed my earlier hard fork retrospective that we did as informational. So I think it would be a good time to move it to EIP, like eth1.o spec repository now.
Yep. Yeah, I'd agree.
Oh, I'll do that.
Okay.
You can make a folder for them.
Yeah, I'll do that accordingly.
All right. Sounds great. All right. Thanks, everybody. See y'all in 2 weeks. Bye. Have a good day.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.